What's up, fam, and welcome to the Certified Man Podcast. My name is KD Bowe, and I'm so glad to be here with you today. And I'm joined with my good friend, my best friend. He's that dude.
Derwin Davis. I'm the senior pastor of the Reach Church of Georgia, and it's my personal mission to help people win in life. And I'm honored to be here with my bro, KD.
Yeah, man. So last week's show was really good. Of course, the comments have been real interesting at best.
Flavorful.
Interesting at best. The thing that really stood out to a lot of people was the whole, you're not your spouse's life coach, And I get the pushback. I do. I get the pushback. I just feel like when you think about a life coach, you think about somebody who has had a certain level of expertise in an arena. They have had a certain level of experience in an arena, and their tone and their touch is one that works for a particular person.
Correct.
So when you feel stuck in a particular area, you get someone who has already excelled in that area to come in and help you get unstuck. That's a life coach. To say that your spouse is going to be that for you because that's just what they're supposed to me, it's lunacy.
Well, if that was the case, that your spouse was going to be that person for you, why would we need marriage therapists?
Oh, and then
family
there's that.
Counselors?
Oh, then there's that, bro.
Why would we need the senior pastor and the pastoral counselor? While I do subscribe to that there should be a level of influence and there should be a level of impact that comes from your intimate relationship, when it comes to the tough things,
it requires you to be grown.
Very much so.
One of the hard things to say is ouch after you have said ouch and the person didn't say what's wrong. When you have acknowledged that, hey, that's uncomfortable, but it seemed like they didn't care. So it's hard for you to go back to them with something that is sensitive because in your mind, sometimes it feels like that they don't really care or, this is something that, they don't want to deal with or whatever it is. I'm not saying that having your spouse as a life coach is bad. It would be preferred. If you ask me, this is the person that's closest to
Correct.
you. But there's a certain level of respect that you got to give them. And dare I say a certain level of compliance that you got to give them to make it work.
Correct.
And, we live in a culture where people don't like to, have nobody tell them what to do. They got their own agency. And although that's true, it just lands weirdly sometimes.
Also for me, sometimes you need a separate space that you can get it out so that you can play it the right way. We talked about it in the previous podcast, presentation.
Oh, you slayed with that one, bro.
I mean,
you slayed with that one.
Presentation is valuable.
Yeah.
So if this person is my life coach and I'm coming to them, I don't have time to go and plate this the right way. I mean, I know as a bro, I can come to you and say it just like it TI is.
Yeah.
I don't have to dress it up. I don't have to watch how I'm saying it. I can literally.
And watch this. Sometimes
Southern playalistic.
Sometimes we still dress it up.
Right. You right.
And I have to say, I get it. It must be tough.
Right.
Hit me with it. I'm good.
Exactly.
Yep.
But that's not the case. So while this may be ideal, and I subscribe to the motion that your partner is your tormentor.
That's right.
Which they help you find the places that are problematic, that are wounded, that need to be healed. So in essence, they are a portion of your life coach. And as you work together, you're going to get better together.
Mm-hmm. They can be your tormentor. And what he means by that is tor. So it's not so much on the torment part, but it's more on the mentor part.
Right.
They mentor you by tormenting certain areas of your life. Because honestly, what you may not have known is that sometimes, most of the times, we pick mates. Dr. Was it John Gottman? Was it John Gottman?
Not Gottman. This is Getting the Love, not Harville Hendrix.
I think it may have been Harville Hendrix.
Yes, Getting the Love You Want.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
That we pick spouses or we pick mates that resemble
our primary caregivers and
our primary caregivers and the ones that caused us stress or
deficits in the love that we desire.
And so marriage is subconsciously a way to be able to fix that deficit.
Right, and heal those childhood wounds and childhood needs.
Yeah. It takes that level of self-awareness to get the full benefit out of a tour mentor.
Right.
What is this? What is this?
And that's the area where we're saying, when you're trying to figure out what is this is not a time to go to your partner. Because while you're trying to figure out what it is,
answers, bro.
you might say something that caused them to be reacted, and now you got more than what you bargained for. When you have an opportunity to sit back, self-reflect, if you have your therapist, you have your pastor, you got your boys, to examine these things with, then, as I call it, having your huddle, you can run better plays when you get back to the ball.
Yeah, facts, bro, facts. So today I want to talk about the choices that we make and why we make some of the choices that we make and what we miss when we make some of the choices that we make. So there is a video that's going around online. This bus driver, he's driving this bus, and some dude walks up on him because he wants the bus driver to stop between stops. So there's a little exchange of words or whatever, and then the passenger who's standing near the bus driver at this point pulls out a weapon, a firearm. And the bus driver sees that he pulls out the firearm. He, in turn, pulls out his firearm, and he deploys that firearm, hitting the guy. Okay. And, the bus driver, I think he got struck in his arm or whatever, but, he got them off of the bus and it was a whole thing. Well, come to find out, when the authorities that own the bus found out what happened, they didn't give him a 5-star medal. They didn't congratulate him. They let him go. Lose your job, because why are you on this bus with a firearm? And all in the comment section, man, it was replete with people saying, what did you expect him to do? What could he have done? I mean, somebody pulled out a weapon on him. What was he supposed to do? Sit there and lose his life?
Right.
Come on. Either he was going to fire back or he was going to lose his life. And it was at that point that something hit my mind. And I said, well, there were other options available. For instance, he could have stopped the bus and let the boy off, even though it wasn't one of his stops. Somebody wouldn't be in jail. Both of y'all wouldn't have been, shot. Okay? And that could have been another scenario. I'm not saying that was the best scenario. I'm saying it was another option. And I think that what happens in many cases, oftentimes we feel pigeonholed into making this decision or that decision. And we feel like that's the only choices that we have. And the truth is, if you just widen your gaze a little bit, widen your frame just a little bit, you'll notice that there are a multiplicity of options other than the one that you used. And the question and the conversation becomes, why is it that we routinely only choose the narrow choices that we pick?
There's something personally that I have had to work on, and that's a D word called disrespect. Historically, when I have felt disrespected, my options narrow. And I'm really being really vulnerable right now. Like, disrespect was such a growth area for me, because I started researching that a lot of people are in prison or in jail because of disrespect. And it's something I had to recognize, like, there's times in my life that there's some choices that I, educated. I'm the good reverend.
Yeah.
But I felt like setting it all off because of what? Disrespect. So it's in that I think triggers and having a relationship with yourself to recognize what causes you to throw all the other options out the way, allows us to come back and what I call watch the tapes on this play.
Oh, this is good.
I think this is important. My brother is a football coach. And it's only one thing that I love about football coaches is they watch film. They watch film. They study film. Why? Because it's their history of watching film that gives them the opportunity to coach for the next play.
So they're watching film, not just of the actual game, they're watching film of practice. You understand what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So you don't get good at something until you practice. And I'm saying that for all of the people who say, what do you expect? In the flash of the moment, you don't have all that time to be trying to be Confucius or Socrates or Aristotle. Bro, you got to move right then. Yes, but you also can train yourself that when certain situations arise, your body knows to respond this way. Okay, karate, martial artists.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of stuff that's going on, but they respond differently. Why? Because they practice it that way. They practice the tough stuff coming. This is what I'm going to do in that case.
Mm-hmm.
That way you don't do something that you reacted to versus what you could have responded or should have responded to.
Right.
And I'm saying that our practice needs to be in line with the best. We need to show up to the worst situation with the best version of us. But that only happens, DZ, when we practice.
Right. And you really got to prepare yourself for the work.
Yeah.
And I can admit, I'm a work in progress.
Yeah, like, man, me too, bro. Me too.
You know, the Bible say turn the other cheek. I get it. The thing that I identify with that is Peter has such an intensity that when he feels disrespect that's not even regarded towards him, he cuts another man's ear off. Moses has so much heat on him that he sees a disruption going on between two people that he now personalizes it. I think it's something about us as men that if we're not careful, we can make other people's stuff ours.
Yes. Let me say this. Facts. So Dietrich Giles is an incredible, 7-figure woman, married for, I think, 26, almost maybe 30 years or something like that. Her husband is in the martial arts, and he's like up in the upper echelons. This joker is bad.
Okay.
And he can go into a crowd of 100 people and level all of them, and then probably wouldn't even break a sweat. The dude is like that.
Oh, wow.
She was doing a podcast recently, and I heard her talk about how her husband is and how he practices peace, even though he's equipped to cause havoc and chaos and ruin. He practices peace. So when she said, I've seen it happen myself. When somebody comes up and they feel disrespected and they hear their husband, hey, blah, 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 blah. What you want? You want to do something? What you got? What you got? What's up? Man, I don't want nothing, man. We about to get up out of here, bro. God bless you, man. We out. We about to go. Even though he has the skill set to do another thing, his practice is peace. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So for us, I'm not telling you that if somebody put their hands on you, you're supposed to, come on, let's not be ridiculous here. I'm saying that there are situations that a different choice of words could give a different outcome. A different look can give a different outcome. A different body gesture can give a different outcome. What we end up doing is we routinely pick the ones that we're most comfortable with. Why? Because nobody from a different perspective has told us, that other perspective is an option. That's another choice that you can do. That's an option. And so when I feel disrespected, you're right. I want to push mops back to the glory of God. I really want to, because I got a little bit of displaced aggression in me just as a black man. I be wanting to fight sometime. I ain't gonna hold you, just straight up. But I know that there's something in me that's got to be healed.
Something happened for me as I started doing this work, and I became uniquely aware of the amount of anger that I've had in me.
Man, talk, bro. I'm with you.
And also seeing some research on anger, that anger always increases, never decreases. So if you respond to a situation in anger, anger invites more anger.
I see.
So coming in anger is like coming to a fire with gas. And as you come to this fire with gas, you're going to put more gas on the fire, which is going to cause more flames. So approaching this with anger is going to make this thing huge.
Yeah.
So it's in the awareness of understanding this moment of anger and realizing where this anger came from. I had to start disarming my anger.
Disarming your anger.
Yes. Because if the anger only increases, if I go this route, what good is going to come of that?
I get it.
What good is going to come of this? If I respond to this fire with more gas, what good is going to come out of it? Now I set you on fire.
Oh, yeah. I know what it's like to want to scorch the earth.
I blaze it up.
Yeah.
But what good? It comes to a point, man, and I hate to say this, it's an old school saying, you got to know what you had to lose.
Yes. Or playing it in reverse. After this is all said and done, whether I win or lose, am I going to be okay with the results of what I lost because I made this choice, or what I gained because I made this choice?
I used to think, man, don't be a punk. I used to hate when people punk me. Oh my God. It used to bother me.
Give me an example of somebody punking you. And I ask you that because some of the things that we fight often has to do with the labels that we put on it, not with the thing itself. Am I being punked, or does that have to be the label that I put on it? Like, this water, it's refreshing. Right. It's amazing. It's beautiful. But that's the label that I put on it.
Correct.
If this was ocean water and I was in the middle of the ocean and you handed me the same glass of water, it would have a different label. I think what I'm saying is nothing has an intrinsic meaning outside of the facts of it. This is a glass and it has LaCroix water in it.
Right.
That's it. It's not good and it's not bad. But the meaning that I give to it, the story that I give surrounding it, is what takes over the narrative of my life most of the time. And not just the water, but just everything. This microphone, what does microphone mean? It's just a microphone that amplifies the sound. But if somebody told me that this kind of mic is what the rich people use, now it means so much more to me because I give a different level of meaning to it. And I'm saying that there are some things, DZ, we put meaning to it, and it ain't got nothing to do with that meaning. We create stories for stuff, bro. And this is a story I've said many times, and I'll say it again. You got a father in the park playing with his little daughter. She's got to be maybe 3 years old. Got little jellies on that when she walks, they light up. Got a little dress on. She got barrettes in her hair. Cute little situation. One woman is sitting there beside another woman sitting there. One woman that's on the bench is crying because it's such a touching moment. My dad never played with me like that. It's amazing. The other woman just like seething. How could he be playing with her like that? She's got a dress on and he's bouncing her on his knee. How could he do that? Oh, blankety blank. How would he be? Because her narrative, you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
And her narrative
are two different things.
Who's right and who's wrong?
Right.
Neither and both. I'm saying we ascribe stories to stuff more often than we know, bro. If infidelity happens, what does it mean?
Right.
It don't mean anything other than the fact that you're married to this person and they chose to sleep with somebody other than you. That's it. It doesn't mean anything else other than what you put on it and what she puts on it. Outside of that, if you can choose your meaning, why not choose a meaning that serves you? Oh, okay.
So as you were talking, what came to me is like the word processor, Microsoft Word. If you share a file, the problem is some files, the font won't load because the font is not on the computer.
Ooh.
No. So some things you can only read when it matches the font, and the font is what's in your history.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it's not even written that way. but you can only process it from the fonts that you have already downloaded.
And how do you know that this is the font to download?
And that's the history. That's checking out. That's checking out intention. That's checking out motives. That's checking out, hey, this could have been disrespectful. This could have been that. You mentioned infidelity. I'm very unfortunate that I've been on both sides of those coins.
Yeah, you said that, man. Yeah.
So it's a very place to be in.
Yeah.
However, it's learning that through both of those navigations, their stuff is not your stuff. And your stuff is not their stuff.
Yeah.
And moving from that and healing from that and taking the journey and learning that you can't take somebody else's font and place it on your own and vice versa. You're reading this other thing that's taking place through that font that you had from those previous experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a unique perspective to be in.
And what's interesting, though, reading it is one thing because that's facts. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. P-E-A-R spells pair. I'm reading it. But the other one is assigning meaning to the words that you read. What does pair mean? Do you understand what I'm saying? So I'm saying in this conversation, and we started off talking about choices. Some of the choices that we make are in line with the stories that we tell ourselves.
Very much so.
About what the situation means. So Dietrich's husband, he could have flattened the whole room and the man showed his intended disrespect towards him.
Right.
But just because you meant that, it doesn't mean that I have to take that as something that is a meaning for me. I can read what it is. I got the font for what that is. But that don't necessarily mean that I got to read it the way you intended it to be read.
I don't have to download it.
Yeah.
You emailed it, but I don't have to download it.
Yeah.
I don't have to take on that virus. And that's a place that we have to really grow in, is that when we open up other people's actions towards us and internalize that, we're taking on their virus.
Yeah.
Versus us deciding, you know what, you sent it, it's malicious, it has spyware, it has other items on it, but guess what? I don't have to download that in my spirit.
And even if you do have to download it, that's what virus protection is for in the first place. And sometimes the virus protection is the filter that we use as we walk through and navigate through life and business and our relationships, the whole nine.
Right.
So I feel like as we decide to make choices that are in line with the best version of ourselves, we will realize that there are way more choices, there are way more options than the ones that we routinely use. And it was because I started doing the deep work that I realized I typically stick around these few options. And until I widen my frame, I widen the spotlight to know that all things work together for the good of those who love God and the called according to his purpose. Right. So that means that the good stuff I call good is here, but the stuff that I call bad is here. What if I narrowed my spotlight or I widened my spotlight or I widened my frame to receive all of it as good?
Right.
All of it is good. If I can choose.
Right.
All of it is good. So this one was a tough workout. The bad stuff, what we call bad. This is a tough workout. But it's building something in me.
Right.
That's why it's so tough. If you notice, there are some things, man, that start out as tough that don't end up as tough.
Right.
Because you got stronger.
Right.
And it was for you to experience it because you needed that exercise in that place. And I'm going through a season now that it was because I had that mindset that things started getting better for me. Because the hard part is some things you fight because you don't think that you deserve to be in this space.
Oh, wow.
I don't deserve to be here. Yes, you do. Because if God brought it to you, then there's something in it that you can learn from it that's going to be for your good. So it's an adventure now. I didn't expect this to happen. I expect to be here, but this is an adventure now. Now I don't know what's going to happen on the next page, but let's see what God going to do. Let me turn the page.
Do you think the lack of gratitude affects the choices that we make?
Talk, bro. You don't need me. You don't need me for this. This is amazing. Talk. It's gratitude, bro. It's always something to be grateful for. And that was one of my choices. One of my choices was not utilizing gratitude when I could have, and some say when I should have.
I'm stumped just for a little moment because I think this gratitude and grounding, and I want to say this to fathers, happy Father's Day. And we're grateful for you and we appreciate you. But it started making me wonder how many men don't feel appreciated and don't have a sense of gratitude because it's something that they haven't received as much. That causes them to be at a point, at a deficit, that they make choices out of that. That's not healthy. When I thought about gratitude, I thought about something that's well-watered, well-maintained, well-nourished. When something is watered, it's my flowers. It can withstand the heat. It won't wither. It can bounce back.
Oh, you were evergreen.
How do we as men develop being in a mindset of having more gratitude when you often feel unappreciated?
Was that a rhetorical question?
No, I'm asking.
Right? So let me bless you with this. And I wish I could take credit for it, but I can't. Because they're not my words. They're yours.
Oh, wow.
Well, I'm about to bless you right now, Doc.
Go.
So oftentimes, we just need to take the definition of who we are away from who we gave the power to define us if it wasn't God.
Yeah.
So we define ourselves sometimes by, in comparison, Mother's Day, Father's Day. Wow. Mother's Day, oh man.
It's wonderful.
You can't get into the restaurant.
Right.
They got a whole cow. They walked the whole cow through 30 minutes before, and now you eating a steak. Father's Day, we get the narrative. But you said this, bro. Mothers get their gifts now.
Oh yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? How that makes a difference? When you don't see the benefit right now, but it doesn't mean a benefit ain't happening. I ain't even gonna mess it up. You tell it.
So I don't know. God gave it, but I acknowledge this.
Boy, you gonna make me tear up, boy. Whew.
Mothers get paid in cash, but oftentimes fathers are swiped first, and then the balance is paid later.
Yeah.
And it's, mother's gonna be appreciated. Is a good mama. Oftentimes, individuals, when a father gets his love, it's after the child has come through. After you've been a stand-up dad. It's unique, and it's interesting in saying that because there's some guys that feel like, man, you swipe first, you showing up, and you like, hey. You still got a balance you're carrying here, and you watching everybody else getting paid cash on demand.
And it's not just what you see and experience now, but it's what remains, bro. Moms are the pretty. They are the studs to the house. They are the wall coloring, the flowers, the wall color, the drapery, the way the house smells when it walks in. Moms are all of that. They make it all amazing. A real solid father is the foundation. So if a fire comes through there, you can always rebuild again.
Right.
When you got a solid foundation. And I'm telling you, bro, a lot of these dads, you're not going to really understand your value until you really sitting there holding your grandbaby, bouncing him up on your leg or however you want to do it. And he come telling you, hey, tell me about that time when you killed that wasp when daddy was scared, but you killed that wasp. You didn't even understand that was even a thing.
Right.
But he said, what wasp? Yeah, daddy said that when you was out there, you took some kerosene and you threw it on the wasp nest and all the wasp nests died. And you was like, you saved the day. Tell me about that story. You don't even remember the story.
Exactly.
But you made an impact that nobody ever told you about while you was making impacts. See, that's the thing. A lot of times they don't come back and say thank you. A lot of times they don't come back and say, this is how this impacted me. But guess what? When they talk and when they move, the grandchildren will know. Well, and their children will know.
A father's presence is always regarded. I never forget, I was doing some training for education, and it talked about poverty. And the words were, even if a father was an addict on drugs, not working, this child who has a father in a home was better off than a child whose father was absent.
Ooh.
I saw it. I was teaching in Clayton County.
Ooh.
I was working on, and I flipped out. I mean, you mean to tell me this person who's at home going through this is better? And the teacher pulled back out some research and showed us that, well, when this child who comes home who doesn't have any father, they're there by themselves. When this child, their dad may be this, he's least present. He's not that way all the time. There's still some other assistance and some items that are going on that this child, so we're not saying it's ideal, but presence means everything.
Wow, man. So I think what I'm hearing you say, and I will encourage to the dads that are listening or that are watching us, hey man, I've been in that space too, where you want what mom gets. And maybe not so much glitter. Okay, not so much glitter, but you want to be celebrated and appreciated like that. And oftentimes it doesn't always work out like that in our favor. My point to you that I'm saying, and I say it to myself, you're making a difference.
A huge difference.
And don't let the lack of the voices that you hear, the celebration that you hear, the claps that you hear, don't let that dissuade you and make you stop. Because if you stop, there are generations that will be impacted. Because what you're doing is not just for this generation. What you're doing is for generations to come. People you will never set your eyes on, bro. Don't quit. I know it gets tough. That's why I appreciate my brothers.
As you were talking, something came back to me. I don't remember who it was, but I remember a guy came to me, this had to be about 6 years ago, and said, she won't let me see my kids. And I remember I told that guy to actually start writing letters to his children, mail them to himself. So that when the day comes, you have documentation that every time I wanted to communicate to you, but I couldn't, I mailed it to the post office that stamped the moment. And those will literally be bricks to help you build the bridge when you get the moment.
Yeah. It's good stuff, man.
Because a father's impact is always needed. I can admit this now. I wish there's so many conversations I wish I could have with my dad right now as a 40-year-old man. As a matter of fact, I really want to have some conversations about his failures. I want to have some conversations. You know, this happened. What did you learn from that? It's these moments. And so as a father, and this is huge because a lot of times we actually think that because of failures, we're disqualified. When the truth of the matter is, your failures have value. And if you can learn to let your failures be your child's pull apart, it'll keep them on the road. See, some of y'all don't know what pull apart is. Pull apart is a salvage yard where you can go and get a part off of a car. You got to pull it yourself, but it's a used part, but it can get them down the road.
Yeah.
And sometimes we got situations that's salvaged. But your kid is riding on your history. They're riding on your story. They're riding on some of your trauma. And it's some of those moments and parts that they're missing that if you were able to be honest with them, hey, don't just tell me don't do this. tell me that you did it too, and you made this mistake, and this is what it cost you. And I'm not saying you're gonna be grown and do your own, but I want to just show you my wounds.
Yeah.
So that you don't get cut the same way I did. And even if you do, guess what? I know that when I got this cut, I did this, and I got back on the road again.
Yeah. You know, as we wrap this up, I wonder what you are allowing somebody else's choice, how you're allowing that to determine your choice. I wonder. She wouldn't let me see my kids. So that was her choice. What's your choice? And here's the thing. You got a choice.
You always have a choice.
You have a choice.
Choice is the greatest gift that God has always given us from the beginning.
Oh, there you go.
The tree in the middle of the garden of knowledge was a choice. That is the one thing that God has always given us. And many times when it comes to our pain, our problems, how we see things, is we minimize the fact that God has always given us a choice. I don't care what you're facing. You have a choice.
Yeah. And I'm not telling you that it is a beautiful choice.
No.
I'm not telling you that it is a wonderfully nice choice or a good choice, but you have choices, and it's never just this or that. And sometimes it takes you to be able to have somebody else's perspective to come in and be able to share with you, hey man, this right here, I've been down that road.
Right.
Whether it's a father, grandfather, whoever, I've been down that road. So don't worry about going down there. That ain't gonna work in your favor. I see what it looks like on this side. And sometimes we have filters that allow us to be limited in our vision. That's why you need community. You absolutely need community. Much so. Don't let somebody else's choice pigeonhole you into making a choice that's not in line with the best version of yourself and who you want to be. You have a multiplicity of choices in your bag that you ain't even researched yet. Because oftentimes, you're stuck on the few that you know about. You don't need to be stuck. And we have seasons where we feel stuck.
Yeah.
There are seasons that I still get stuck, but I don't stay stuck.
Yeah.
I don't stay stuck because stuck is a choice.
Yeah.
And I don't stay stuck because I don't choose to stay stuck. Happy Father's Day to you. The blessings of God rest on your life, and there's some amazing fathers out there. And if you got a great father, would you just tag him in this video and give him a shout out, okay? Make sure you subscribe to this channel. Until next time, hey, we love you. Looking forward to talking to you again. Man up.
Man up.